All right. Sure. Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's Darryl.
This is Roy.
This is Myron
and Leontine.
And today we're going to be talking about what it means to be a coach. So we're all coaches. We've all been coaching for a while. Yep. And I think coaching in itself is just a super interesting topic. You can look at it from so many different angles. You can go deep into the science. You can go deep into the more practical side of it. There's people who have never read a single article but have still been coaching people for years and years and have built a natural way of doing things. So I thought it was a fun way to get to know everyone's kind of philosophy on coaching. And the first thing we're going to talk about is how long has everyone been coaching? I've been coaching since a year before Iron House started. Let's say half a year. So let's say 6 years I've been coaching.
I've been coaching since 17. So I would say 4 years.
Yeah, okay.
I think...
I always forget how young you are. It says 17. I'm like,
right,
he's been coaching for like 10 years.
Yeah, no.
I started coaching here at Iron House. I think it was 3 years ago.
Okay. 3 years.
I started coaching somewhere in 2015 during my outdoor instructors course. But I haven't been coaching between my course and starting here. So in total, something like 3 or 4 years.
So you started coaching outdoor
sports, basically.
Outdoor sports,
when
okay.
I was still going to school. And I've been coaching here for a year and a half now.
Because that's also, of course, still coaching. It's not just here competitive powerlifting, because all those skills are transferable. Where did you start coaching at 17? CrossFit, I think?
CrossFit.
Okay, yeah. And then you started here with training with athletes and clients.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's powerlifting.
Yeah, we've all been then coaching for quite a while. And the years don't necessarily mean a lot, because a person who is really dedicated can learn a lot in 1 year of coaching. Depends how much time and effort you put into it. How do you guys feel that you are like in your journey as coaches? How comfortable are you? You feel super like capable, adequate, and what's the feel?
I feel pretty capable in my capabilities, but I also feel like there's so much more to get better at. Like, I'm pretty confident that I can help almost anyone, but I also feel like I have a lot of things to still improve on, to just help people more and help more different people.
That makes sense?
I agree. There's always more to learn. There's always more specific topics to learn more about,
Yeah, I have the same thing. So I have the feeling the more I learn, the more I know there's still more to learn about. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the mark of really good coaches. It's kind of like a filter test when you talk to coaches. When you ask them how much do you know, people say, "Oh yeah, I'm good." You know, that's like, okay, they're comfortable and that's where they stop. But really good coaches, same as really good athletes, always know that even though I'm good in comparison to the average person, the ceiling of potential is super, super high. So there's always a lot more to learn.
It's so funny because now I've been coaching here for a year and a half, and I've been training for almost 10 years, and sometimes I still feel like I know absolutely nothing.
You mean when you're coaching or when you're lifting?
When I'm coaching. I'm pretty comfortable with my own lifting, but sometimes I'm like, damn, this problem is hard. Like, I don't know anything.
Yeah. I don't think that's too weird, though. Even I've been doing it, I guess, a little bit longer than you guys have, and even I have sometimes that, wait, I solved this problem before. Why can't I solve this now? And then there's a reason that it doesn't make any sense anymore. And then I call you, for example, and then I'm like, oh, I've been coaching longer than Roy. And then Roy comes in like, oh yeah, that. I'm like, there it is. There it is. But what was the reason you guys chose to like become coaches or start coaching? Like, it's not a profession that for a lot of people is like obvious, even though later I'm going to talk about the fact how everyone now is a damn coach. Mm-hmm. How did you guys get into coaching? What was the reason for it?
I started coaching because first I got an injury due to bad coaching, and then I just got motivated to help people and not get injured and get them to their goal. Really?
So it was like because you got injured, you're like, damn, I wanna do it the right way to like kind of, it's kind of like a type of revenge situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somehow. Yeah.
And then, but you also immediately started, then you got injured, I guess, in CrossFit from bad coaching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Oh man.
You still know the coach who injured you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still good friends with him.
Okay. Hey, sometimes you can be an inexperienced coach, and because of whatever you're missing, you end up by accident hurting someone, and then that's just the price you pay, I guess. And hopefully you learn and improve, and it stays at one or two people. What about you, Roy? Why did you start?
Well, I think my story with how I started coaching is a bit more intricate and a bit longer. So I started doing the outdoor instructor course, which I talked about, and I was like, hey, that's cool. Outdoor sports are cool. And then like halfway during school, I ran into the fact like, oh yeah, it's not about doing it yourself. It's about teaching others how to do it. And at first, when I started doing that, I didn't really like it. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't something that came naturally to me, so that's why I probably didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy talking in front of people. But eventually, developing that skill, I really found a passion for, oh, hey, teaching people stuff is actually pretty cool. And that eventually sort of turned, so that was more sort of teaching, more in front of groups. And that eventually sort of turned into a passion for coaching as my passion for, strength training and powerlifting grew.
That makes sense. Leontine?
So for me, I just get really excited to see people do stuff they didn't expect they can do. And especially women going to the gym. You see a lot of times women are scared to go into a gym even or to start training with weights. So for me, it was because I got excited about powerlifting and I noticed that I could get pretty strong. I think other people can do that as well. And to help people achieve that and to reach goals they never thought they could achieve, getting stronger, feeling happy about their gains, I guess. Not only physically, but also mentally. That makes me super happy. And that's what I wanted to, I wanted to get my excitement for the sport to other people as well.
Yeah, because that gratitude that you can experience with an athlete or a client can be pretty intense when someone overcomes something or hits a new PR and because for us we're talking about strength sports in specific. None of us have any athletes or clients who get paid to do it. They're all doing it out of choice. It's a uit de hand gelopen hobby, as some people say. So there's no survival need for it. But still, when they achieve it, there's the amount of gratitude that they can share with us is immense. I don't know how many of you guys have had people with tears in their eyes after a competition or a good PR or overcome.
Amazing.
Yeah, right.
That's
so
amazing, yeah.
so that's the highest high you can ever have.
Yeah,
and that's always been also my reason for coaching. I mean, I became a coach out of necessity for Iron House. When Iron House started, we were 4 people in the gym. So. And we started Iron House bare bones. We started with we don't have no rich mommy and daddy and no fucking big bank loan, none of that shit. We just bootstrapped it. So we didn't have money to pay for coaches. So I was like, okay, I better learn how to become a coach. So the day we got the keys for Iron House and we had maybe 3 months to get Iron House finished, I just read everything I could read about coaching, about powerlifting, watched every single video on YouTube, followed every channel, bought all the weird ebooks I could buy and read it. So I was like, I have no choice. I have to become a coach because my business needs it. But in doing so, I realized, damn, 1, I really like talking a lot. And 2, I really love teaching people things. So I think that for me is the biggest part. Just being a teacher in in the big spectrum of what a coach does, the teacher part of it, that's what really gets me the most. Teaching someone, finding the right way to explain something, putting the piece together and someone clicks in their head and then they get it and then they make it their own thing. That to me is the most fun part of the most fun challenge when it comes to coaching. So... Go ahead.
One thing I'd like to add to my own story is when I started lifting myself, there wasn't really anybody else to sort of really guide me along the way. I sometimes lift with my dad, and he thought he knew what he was doing, but he didn't. Sorry if you're listening to this, Dad. But it worked out in a commercial gym where the trainers were pretty shit, to be honest. So there wasn't anybody else to really guide me.
I think that's still the case now, too. Most commercial gyms.
Yep. So... Obviously, I read all the stuff on the internet, but obviously not everything on the internet is actually good information. So I did a lot of stupid shit.
Trial by error.
Yeah, pretty much. Because people almost tell me, your lifting always seems to go well. Yeah, well, after 10 years, you sort of get decent at it because trial by error.
You filter out all the things that don't work eventually.
Yeah, so now I really like having people not make those stupid mistakes that I made.
Do you guys recognize that? Consciously avoiding mistakes that you've made with your clients?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, because I feel for sure, look, I'm not competitive at all. I've competed once. I've always had more of a passion for the coaching side of it. But I've definitely I mean, I had a whole gym to myself. Often it's my own. Basically, my home gym is this gym, so I could do everything I want. So I've done so many things wrong that sometimes you clients be like, "Trust me, don't do that." I know. Like the reason why I can't really do that anymore is because I fucked it up. So,
but it helps with coaching, right? Like,
absolutely.
Why shouldn't I do this? Because I tried it, it didn't work.
Yeah, for real. What about you guys?
Yeah, no, almost the same. For me, it's more, I did a lot of CrossFit competitions. In my preparation for the competition, I learned stuff that worked and didn't. So that's where I learned from, I'm going to do this with my clients. I'm not going to do this with other ones.
Yeah, so you kind of create like a natural filter of your own for someone else also.
Yeah.
But the teaching part, like I talked about, that's on the spectrum of all the things a coach has to be. That's one of them. There's a lot of things. There's, for example, you have to be able to be also a friend or a companion. You have to be a confidant. More often than not, and what I've experienced more so lately in the last few, like the last year or so, like the therapist angle is also like a big deal. A lot of people need that kind of like help as well, emotional help. You also have mentorship. You have a manager. So you have a lot of different aspects of what it is to be a coach. For me, the teaching part, being a teacher, like relaying new information or a new view on information, that's what gets me the most excited. What on that spectrum of being a coach do you guys think you guys can speak to the most?
That's a pretty hard question to answer.
It's almost a trick question.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. If you have an answer, go for it.
For me, it's the physical therapist kind of side. I'm also studying that because I got the injury. I went to a physical therapist. He helped me very good for my rehabilitation. So I'm more towards the therapist side. I also think the future for physical therapy is going to be more to personal training, because we technically have a very important job of keeping people healthy or getting them healthy from where they were at the start. So I think more towards that direction. Yeah.
Okay.
I think for me it's several things depending on the client. I think it's some people are really competitive. They want to do competitions. That gets me super excited. I want to be there to guide them towards the competition, and then at the competition, I want to support them to the best of my abilities, and then celebrate with them when they do whatever. I mean, even just competing can be a goal in itself, and that makes me super happy as well. But on the other hand, there are people who are not competitive and they just want to go to the gym, but they find it difficult to do it by themselves, or just like I am there, stok achter de deur, to go to the gym. And I think that's celebratory as well. I mean, you can also be happy for someone who just goes to the gym and who just is there to work out and then leave being happy they at least did that. So that's kind of more the therapist side.
Yeah, that's also the facilitator side of it.
Exactly.
A lot of people, they either know it's important or they know they want to, except there's either a fear of barrier of entry of coming to the gym or not knowing what to do or looking like a fool, for example. So you can facilitate their needs into one specific spot so they can do what they want to do. Yeah. That's also a very important part of it. What about you?
I agree with Leontine's answer mostly, as it really differs per client. Obviously, like there's some people like Leontine talk about that want to compete and are already pretty experienced as far as training goes, so you don't have to teach them as much, but you're still like really a mentor in guiding them along the way. But there's also people that are pretty new who haven't ever lifted a barbell maybe, and then you're more of a teacher because you're basically got to teach them everything. And yeah, I like all those aspects. I like helping beginners. I like helping more advanced people.
Do you guys feel there's one part of the coaching deal of being a coach that you shine the most at? So some people are like naturally motivating. I feel like me, for example, I'm just naturally motivating people, and I'm like highly invested in motivation. Like I like to learn about it and read about it and everything. So that's just who I am. It's super easy for me to be motivating. So like that's not something I struggle at, but there are there are other aspects on that spectrum that it's harder for me to do. So I'm like, it's hard for me to be like buddy with everyone. For me, it's hard because I have to be buddy with the whole gym. We have a culture at Iron House where everyone has to feel like they're a friend, and that's super important to me. but you're talking about hundreds of people at some point, and then it's sometimes hard to balance. So motivated for me is super, super easy to be, but to be like, for me to feel as though I'm a friend enough for everyone, that's something I don't think I fail at it, but I have to work extra hard to do it right. Do you guys feel there's one aspect where you definitely shine at, which is easy to do, and one that you think, okay, I have to actively work on this to not do it wrong?
I feel like being a friend to everybody comes pretty easy to me because I don't get like irritated by people easily. I'm pretty easily friendly with anybody, and also think I'm a good listener because I'm not so good at talking, but that makes me better at listening. So whenever people just need somebody to listen to them, that comes easier to me.
And you get people who vent then, who just like, you ask them, hey, how was your day? And they just go and talk for an hour long. And
yep, that totally happens, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm the same as Roy almost. Yeah. So I also am. I don't have that many clients here, so I pretty friendly with all of them, and also with the Power Hour class that I give, I'm friendly with most of them. So I would say I'm almost the same. Yeah.
Are you, and also in the same sense that you're more of a listener than a talker?
When I'm not coaching, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at making people feel comfortable. So when they come here for the first time, I'll just take them along, show them around. This is where we do our workouts. This is where we train. These are the weights, and let's just go. And if someone wants to start in the corner of the gym, that's fine by me. And if someone then eventually, further along the way, likes to shine on the middle deadlift platform, then that makes me super happy to see where they have gone. So, I think making people comfortable is something I really enjoy doing, and I'm pretty good at.
Okay, and what are you guys less good at? Because there's always something that, and again, doesn't mean that you fail at it, that it's poor. But there's some things that is more difficult, some things that it cost you effort. You have to actively work on it to make sure you don't fuck up.
Well, being motivating, we're like almost total polar opposites in that aspect, Darryl. So for me, it's hard to yell at people. For instance, during the mock meet, like just yelling something, and people take so much more effort than just listening to somebody and coming up with a solution for something. Because I sometimes just don't know like what to tell them. And luckily, I know all my athletes pretty well, and I don't feel like it's hindering because I know that all the work is done. Like they should be prepared. Like what I yell at them now shouldn't matter, but sometimes, because all the other coaches and people do it, it sometimes still feels like wrong or something.
Yeah, you don't want to get drowned out either, or you don't want the comparison to make it seem as though what you're not doing is wrong, for example. But I get your point. Like it is hard for you because you're just not comfortable, like being loud and outspoken and yelling in front of people. Is it like a shyness thing, or is it just like you feel it's not necessary?
It takes conscious effort from me.
Okay. Yeah, you won't just naturally see someone go like, yeah, come up. You have to be like, okay, she's about to lift. I should probably yell out brace right now. Brace.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Like it doesn't come naturally, so I need to like actively think about it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I have the exact same thing. I don't like being loud.
Yeah.
So
that makes it hard.
Or maybe it's the spotlight you get on yourself if you're loud.
That too.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I get
don't
that.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yelling at people or yelling something motivating. It for me it helps if someone does it for me. So I know that it can help, but I always discuss it with clients. If they need something, if they need this, then I will definitely do it. If they don't,
and that's
I'm happy as well.
Good communication skills. To just ask. But you guys talking about now at like yelling, motivating things, but you also find it difficult just in conversation when someone has, like when you're stuck in something, to also be motivating, or is it just like the spotlight aspect of it that you guys talking about?
Yeah, it's mostly the spotlight aspect, because when it's something that I can just easily explain in a normal way, then yeah, that comes a lot more naturally to me, because then I can be my more soft-spoken self, and I don't have to be in the spotlight.
Spotlight it can be a pretty big issue, which is funny because both of you say the same thing, but you're both competitive powerlifters. So like, there's not more spotlight than lifting at a power competition because everyone's looking at you. You're literally being judged by 3 judges.
Somehow that feels really comfortable.
Yeah.
Hey man, you know how nervous I was for my first competition?
But you still did it good, and you keep doing it. What about for you, Myron? What's like one thing you think it cost you more effort?
I want to say the same thing, but they already said both. So,
But everyone has their own reason.
yeah, for me, I would say it depends per my client. Let's say if the client is very competitive, and I have a good relationship with them, then I would probably yell in the gym like you guys never heard me yell before. But if it's a person that wants to compete, but I know they're like more introvert maybe, I wouldn't yell as hard because they already have all the spotlights on them, especially if it's weightlifting competition or a powerlifting competition. So I think it depends on the client, but it's also something that I wouldn't do from myself. I would do it for my client, but not from myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that.
There's something else that I find actually pretty difficult about being a coach, is that by being a coach, there is already a spotlight on you. So the way your client performs kind of shines on...
It's a reflection of you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So that also that makes me feel uncomfortable as well, because I always feel like there's more to learn or that I'm lacking somewhere. And that gets me nervous as well.
You guys have you're talking about imposter syndrome?
Kind of,
Yeah?
yeah, definitely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's it. So it feels like there's always, I should be reading more, I should do more courses, I should, I don't know,
I get it.
learn from my colleagues as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that there's always a little insecurity there. Yeah. But I think that's a good thing as well, because it makes me motivated to keep learning.
Which is, I think, probably a key aspect of being a good coach, that you are eager to keep learning and not feel like it's a obligation or comparative standard or anything.
Yeah, it feels like a necessity almost. Yeah.
And for me, I think with my clients, my whole thing is that once I'm your coach, like I'm your coach, like I got your back, and I let my clients let them know that good day, bad day, good rep, bad rep, doesn't matter. I'm your coach, and for me, it's like probably an island thing. I like to make people feel like a family. It comes with the brand. It comes with Iron House. We want everyone here to feel welcome and warm and included and part of the culture. And I take that a step further with my clients, just make them know, like, hey, no matter what, I got your back. If tomorrow you wake up and you tell me you want to stop powerlifting, you want to start doing sport performance, you want to start running or whatever, it's all good. Let's go. And I have a bit of that family feel with them. So I hug all my clients almost. And so when our competition time, or when the moment comes, I can just yell whatever I want, because we have such a good relationship that I know exactly what I can say. And that makes it easy, because when you're asking questions and pulling information out of people, because you want people to express themselves, so I can just keep asking, and I have no shame to go doesn't sound like the real answer, keep going. Or it doesn't sound like the real reason, keep going. So you can keep digging into it. And that really works for me and my clients, because I can just, it feels like more like a family bond than like a coach-client situation. And that opens a lot of doors. I can say whatever the fuck I want to people, and it always works well. I can swear at them. I can tell them, okay, let's go, man the fuck up. No more bullshit, let's go. And depending on the client, of course, but sometimes that hits the note just right. But that's, again, in the aspect of having a different style of coaching for everyone. And lately, I've noticed, I'm pretty sure anyone with Instagram can notice, every single person and their neighbor nowadays is a coach. Everyone's either an online coach or a personal trainer, which is not a bad thing. I mean, there's enough space in the market, and there's always going to be a difference between high-quality coaches and low-quality coaches. I also believe that there should be a product for every budget. If every coach charged 400 euros an hour, then it'll be difficult. So you need people in different levels and different price categories so that every type of customer can be satisfied. But in an unregulated market, you do notice that everyone's a coach nowadays. Everyone has almost, in their Instagram bio, fitness coach or trainer or whatever the fuck. And let's look at it from a positive perspective. That is a good thing. For all the new coaches or the young coaches or the Insta coaches, what do you guys think are some essential skills you either noticed, maybe at competition-wise or at competitions, or just on Instagram in general? What separates a good coach from a bad coach, or a real coach from just a Instagram bio coach?
Just actual people skills, like actually being able to coach people in person instead of only being able to coach them online. And I'm not saying like online coaches aren't coaches, but it's a very different skill talking to people only like through WhatsApp and actually talking to them in real life conversations.
But I think even that, because you can still have good people skills and like type out the right language and communication online, or just being super dry or rude or unemotional on WhatsApp. You can, so I get that. That makes sense.
I agree with him, but I would also add the knowledge part, especially if I'm looking from a competitive aspect or even from a just general population aspect. I think the difference is mostly going to be in the knowledge part, and that's, I think, where we as coaches could improve a lot on, just always keep increasing our knowledge with even looking to other sports, seeing what they're doing different that what we're not doing, maybe what we can add on to it. So I would definitely see the people skills, how to communicate with everyone, but also the general knowledge, actually.
Yeah, and I like that part because that's what we're trying to do with the coaches meeting.
Yeah.
Like most members don't know, but every month we have a coaches meeting where we get together, sit down, we try to share knowledge and talk about things and improve our skills, because we all know it's important to like we're all at, let's say, 10% of our capabilities as coaches. So there's a lot to learn. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like being hungry and eager to learn things and not just assume you know everything, or not just assume that you're better than, or you know enough to satisfy like these types of clients. You never know when a client might need that extra little bit of knowledge that you have to really overcome their problems. So those two together, pretty essential.
I think that's also a good point for most people that are like personal trainers or online coaches, is usually they work by themselves, so they don't have a team around them. And there's nobody that can to tell them like, hey, that's stupid, don't do that. Or
that's stupid, don't do that.
To be very blunt about it. But just having a team around you and being able to, because obviously like you can learn by yourself, but you're always going to self-select for the knowledge that you want to learn.
True.
And here, we have a team. So it's like, I need to learn about Genpro. I'd never do that by myself, but now I needed to.
And you have to.
Yeah. Now I have to.
You had no choice.
So to make it more powerlifting specific, I've noticed that there are some... There's always new coaches, of course, but if you decide to be a coach on a competition, then it's very important to know all the rules and regulations on and off the platform. And what I see happening, especially with new coaches, is that they haven't read the rules and regulations, and then a lot of stupid things happen.
Like what? Let's be specific. Let's give people actual things that they can do better. Because you told me the same thing when you came back from Anchor Juniors.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are specific things that people should definitely stop doing or learn to do?
They should definitely. I mean, there is a rule that you are not allowed to slap your client in front of the audience.
Yeah.
So you have to go behind the curtain or whatever that you're not that the audience can't see you. If you want to slap your client or your client wants to be slapped, you can do it out of view. Same for using what's it called?
Ammonia.
Yeah, exactly. You're not allowed to do that when the audience can see you. So also swearing on the platform, that's not allowed. I understand if you fail a lift, it can be super
also
frustrating.
Coaches aren't allowed to swear.
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way. Yeah, so don't, like, as a coach, don't swear if your athlete misses a lift.
Yeah.
And also, if you're a coach and you're sitting in the crowd, you're still not to swear. Learn it the hard way.
Yeah, and also it happens a lot that when an athlete gets a red light, they yell at the referee, or they run away and go backstage and then start complaining about the referee wasn't fair or whatever. And that's just, you cannot do that. I mean, there's not a rule about it, but it's just
bad sportsmanship.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
To add on to that, just some simple things to be familiar with the sport, because like we talked about earlier, Darryl, I was at junior nationals and sub-junior nationals last 2 weekends, and I saw some coaches there that just didn't even know how an actual meet was run, like when to warm up. I saw some people that like used a competition rack for the first time in their life, and you should have done that before coaching somebody at a competition. It's like just all the simple stuff.
Yeah, I think that all falls under the really important umbrella of preparedness.
Yeah.
I mean, also just in general, having a client, and like when you have a high standard of quality, you never want a client to feel as though like they can't perform because you're not prepared. And again, you're a facilitator. You're supposed to know the rules. I mean, the least you can do in competition is bring a fucking pen because you got to fill attempt cards and you got to hand them in. You know, familiar, like have a schedule. I mean, you hijacked my competition Excel sheet.
Yep, I did.
So just having at least an overview of when everyone has to lift, what's going to be the attempts, what are you going to do if that happens. I took it like a level further because you guys are competitive. You guys compete yourselves. I competed once SBD Cup, but my whole passion always was coaching. So I have this whole Excel sheet where I tracked 2 different scenarios for openers for all attempts, and I have a place to write down the attempts of the people competing on the ranks above, so I can track it. So I don't have to go to the board to know, okay, if that person misses that deadlift, then we can do this. So I can track everything myself. So I'm always ready for every situation. I'm over-prepared. I remember the first time I went to, I think it was in Tilburg. What was it called again?
Dare Cup, right?
Yeah, Dare Cup. No, it's when Spartacus used to organize it at Tilburg.
Yeah, that was still Dare Cup when it was in June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Dare Cup.
I think that's the first time I went. That was, I think, 5 years ago. I showed up with a clipboard with my sheets, and every time I had to like help someone get ready for the platform, I put it down so I can, chalk up their back or whatever. And so everyone like looking at my clipboard like, what's that? Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so over-preparedness. So preparedness is just, it's a product quality also that you should have as a coach. You can't have someone coming to the gym for a workout and like, well, so what are we going to do? Squats? That's it gives another, it makes them feel like you're not invested enough in their progress. And as a coach, you want them to get the best out of every minute in the gym. So preparedness, I like that. So coaches, learn to be prepared. Prepare yourself for a situation where it's a competition or the workout you're about to do. Be familiar with the rules. At least know the basic rules. I think it's really weird people who go places and they don't know the rules, but also they don't know what's going to get them kicked out of the competition. I've had a lot of people tell me like they've missed their 2 first attempts on squats. Mm-hmm. And I told the guy, well, because they were debating whether to just go heavier because he got the rep, but it was just deep. It wasn't deep enough every single time. So he said, ja, maar ik kan toch makkelijk 10 kilo zwaarder. Be like, listen, dude, if you don't get the squat, you're out. It's like, hoezo? Kan toch nog bankdrukken? So I was like, no, if you don't get all 3 lifts on one lift, you're out. You're out of the competition. There's no winning anymore. Yeah. So at least know what's going to get you kicked out of the competition, right? But other essential skills. So we can be very vague with it, but let's be specific. What are specific skills that coaches should have or need to have if we're talking to the beginning coaches or people who are just starting off?
I would say be able to adapt pretty quickly. So let's say if you have a personal training or a client coming in and they're not feeling good on that day, then you could adapt the program very fast. So always have a plan A and a plan B, maybe even plan C.
Yeah, good one.
I would say adapt.
Yeah. You don't want to get stuck in a situation where you force someone to do something and it just keeps going from bad to worse. Yeah, so being able to adapt is really important.
I think it's also very important to be able to communicate well. I think we've already touched upon this, but it's more important to ask questions than to talk yourself. I think it's always very important to really figure out what a person's goal is, and to work towards that always. To always keep that in mind, and with everything you do, and sometimes check in if the goal is still the same. That's also very important.
Yeah, don't let the goal be the same just because you want it to. Yep. And then a lot of clients are, oh well, my coach wants me to do this, so I guess I have to. But you're going to get a lot more results when someone also really wants to.
Yeah.
I think one of the essential skills that I would say for people is just learn a little bit of emotional intelligence, because you're dealing with people, and I've had people who are on track to win meets and they're doing great. They're top of their ranks and competitively awesome, but just the emotional aspect is what's hindering them. So the programming was great, lifts are going good, but it was a struggle because of the emotional side of it. So having emotional intelligence, being empathetic and sympathetic in that sense, that's also a really important skill. Don't just assume, well, my programming is solid and I can definitely fix that person's squat. that might be true, but if someone has emotional things they're dealing with, having that skill, being emotionally intelligent and having the communication skills also to deal with that is also super important, because you're always dealing with people. At some point, something in their lives are going to come up and you're going to hear them say, oh, hey, how did workout go? Yeah, it was all right. When every other times they've ever asked them, they told you that it was fantastic, or they went off in a rant about it. So I would advise people to learn to be a little bit more connected to people.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to ask you guys is, because we've all been coaching for a while, we've been coaching also quite differently. I mean, you've even coached since you were 17.
Yeah.
So in all those years of coaching and all the shit that we've gone through with training outside in the fucking snow and everything, there's bound to be some hella interesting stories. I know, for example, that you have a client who tends to bring mocktails to your coaching sessions.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
that
I
pie even.
Yeah, that looked like a good time. That looked like a good client to have. And I know my personal repertoire of really weird stories is huge since I've been doing it so long. And I think I told you guys before we started filming the podcast is that I had a client once who she convinced herself that she wanted to do bikini. And I told her, bikini is not my thing, but she needed to build at least like a fitness basis to start off with. She didn't have a real foundation for fitness at all. So we're like, hey, you know what, let's start. And then once you have a good foundation, I'll recommend you to someone who I know who's good in bikini, right? And I think in the second session, we were just she had a lot of trouble doing like upright row movements and face pull movements. So she got really nervous at the cables. I told her, okay, let's step to the side, away from people. Let's just do it with a resistance band. And I don't remember how it happened, but she was doing tricep extensions behind the head with a band, so with her heel on it. And I was just walking around and giving her cues, and I told her, okay, you got to, she was pitching her elbows forward way too much. So the elbows got to go up a little bit. And then she stepped forward and let go of the band. And I looked down at the exact moment. It was like one of those gray bands. She was tall, so that thing snapped me. Yeah, you guys know when you have like like blue eye when you have like a squat, when you grind the squat out? That's what I had.
Oh my God.
And we were only like 10 minutes into the session, so the rest of the session was super, super awkward. The whole time I was like, okay, we're doing leg press now. Is that 20, 25? I can't tell. So for the rest of the I just sucked it up the rest of the session, but yeah, I couldn't really see out of my eye for a few days. That was pretty bad.
Man, I'm not sure if I have any weird stories.
No, nothing crazy.
There's nothing popping up. There must be something, but
there's nothing really popping up either. But I have one story. Yeah, I have one story though. There was in a cross class. This was back in Aruba. So when I was still coaching there, we had banded pull-ups, and I always say try to cross your legs and press on the band so it won't shoot up. When you're doing pull-ups and it shoot-ups in between the legs. So dudes, especially, close your legs.
Yeah.
And one dude decided to open it, and it shot up. So it didn't happen something to me like what happened with Darryl, but it wasn't fun for him.
No, but that creates a really comically uncomfortable situation in class too. Because what are you supposed to do as a coach? Like, oh, walk it off. If it's really bad, the guy's on the ground rolling around in pain. You're like, I can't really rub it for you. I can't go like, oh, your poor shoulder. That's not an option. And no one wants to be the guy on the floor with ice on his groin.
Yep.
So that's pretty bad.
Luckily enough, he wasn't injured so bad, so that was good.
That's good.
Yeah.
I am thinking about, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here as well.
You guys never had a client puke in a workout, never someone got sick or an emergency phone call and it was like their house got broken into or something? I've had all that shit happen.
Nope.
I experienced the puking too.
Yeah.
Well, I did have when we were training. So when we were training outside, because we couldn't train in the gym because of COVID. I remember one afternoon it started raining, and I was doing bench press with my client, and then I just held an umbrella over his head because I still wanted him to do the workout, but then he needed to be comfortable and not get any rain in his eyes
or his nose.
So I just held the umbrella the whole workout.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. That never happened. I hope that never happens again.
All right. Look, I've been doing a little bit longer than you guys have, but trust me, keep doing it. You're gonna find yourself. The more comfortable you become with clients, the more how many people ever had clients break down and cry during a session?
Oh, I've had that happen. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
me
it.
too.
But
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think it's important for us to be such a safe space that people can do that. I mean, I'd much rather have that in the gym with my coach than on the fucking street on the bus or something, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's also aspects of the job that people aren't aware of, like how heavily the emotional connection can happen with people, or how sometimes you're thrown into those kind of situations also without really signing up for it. Because if you're just a personal trainer and a coach and you're working on your fitness and everyone's getting stronger, all of a sudden someone comes in and they just break down on you. I've had dudes also cry in my arms because they've having horrible time in their lives. But to me, those like really beautiful moments that I like always remember. Be like, okay, then at least we're doing something important. But as for many of those stories, there are people who call and like the brother-in-law is at the house and fucking swearing in another language on the phone and shit, and then puts the phone down, not hang up, like swears to that person in another language. I know what it was. Puts the phone down, does another set of incline banana press, and picks up the phone again and keeps swearing. Fucking hilarious. So I hope you guys get to experience more of those weird moments.
I do have a story now, thinking of it. So it's the same client that also, she's the only client that I ever had cry during a session, if I remember correctly. And also once had a time where I was doing a warm-up circuit with her, just like a giant set with a sled push, a core exercise, and something like a kettlebell swing. And she seemed to be doing pretty well. And then the warm-up circuit was finished, and she sat down, and she just totally turned white. Like,
oh, Jesus.
Didn't respond to anything I was saying, and I was standing there like, fuck. What do I do?
I didn't sign up for this shit.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen as well.
No, it
Yeah?
wasn't that. I was mostly just worried. I think I broke her. But eventually it turned out that she just hadn't ate like way too long before our session. So
She was
like,
not really prepared.
Yeah, so I grabbed some sport drink powder like here, and she was like, no, need it. Yes, you need it. Drink it.
Listen, motherfucker. You had that too?
Yeah, I had that too. Yeah, and now come to think of it, I had something else as well. I used to train with this guy who kind of enjoyed being like me being very strict on him, and then made him work out like crazy, and then he would be just completely broken at the end of the session. And then he kind of I always asked him, so how did your training go the past weeks, and is there anything in particular? And then he said, yeah, I didn't train, so I need a punishment training again.
Jesus.
And yeah, that happened a couple of times. But I mean, and I was like, is this some kind of
Kinky thing?
Is this a kind of kinky thing? But
Hey,
then
hey,
I thought,
no-
well, I don't mind.
This is a safe place, no judgment here.
Exactly. So I'll just make 3 very intense circuits for you, and then let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, no, we don't kink shame people in this gym. So
No, definitely not.
as long as we keep it nice and family friendly, it's all
Yeah,
good.
Exactly.
So I hope you guys get to experience more crazy stories. Just like not only in coaching but in Iron House, there's so many weird things that has happened. Like from people coming off the street and passing out to like kittens stuck in fucking car hoods and all kinds of super weird shit. Especially like back here with this industry terrain, all kinds of weird shit. So I hope you guys have more interesting, positive experiences. I hope no one passes out or gets hurt, but this job is full of interesting situations. So.
Man, I've worked in the kitchen for almost 10 years. I've seen all the
Yeah,
funny,
well, there you
weird,
go.
and interesting
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
I think that sounds like a story for we should do an episode of our lives before Iron House.
man, I could write a book about that shit.
Yeah, and I would read it. All right, that was fun. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
everyone who's listening, don't forget to check out our podcast everywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, it's everywhere. We're also going to be posting the video version of this on our YouTube channel for the people who want to watch as they listen. And hopefully every week a new episode. Hopefully. No promises, but hopefully. All right, thanks,
Hopefully.
guys.
Let's try.
Cool, that's it.
Yay, cool.
That's an episode.
Awesome.
Give you a chance to let your ears relax.